Right, this week we're going to be working on call out views, details, and interior elevation views. And so download the file that I'm giving you in Blackboard so you can follow along. I've added some stuff to it from last week. And you can kind of follow along, see how these things work and what we're doing. As you can see right here, I've added a restroom. And with a commercial building, or even like an apartment or condominium, certain rooms will be the same everywhere. Okay, in a commercial building, you think about it, the core area, the public restrooms and the elevator shaft, that type of a core, it's the same on every floor as you go up. Okay, so depending upon what you're doing, you would model it, do one dimensioned drawing, and it's a typical drawing for every floor. Okay. If you want your schedule information to be correct, then you have to model every element on every floor, but you don't have to reference the drawings. Like we'll say, for example, an office building that has like 10 stories, and the ground floor is different than all of the rest of them. But then, floors 2 through 9, say, are identical as far as the core goes and the exterior of the building goes. So you probably would not have a floor plan drawing for every floor. Okay. You'd have a typical floor plan for levels 2 through 9, we'll say. And then the bathroom, the core area, would be identical on every level. So you would have, details for that. Okay, so what I've done, I've added some bathroom fixture type stuff here on level 1 and on level 2. Okay. And in residential type stuff, we'll do an elevation, maybe a couple of elevations in the bathrooms and the kitchens to be able to show the cabinetry and those kinds of things. Well, and it's not so critical in residential, but we're going to be doing them in our classes that you're taking here, just so you get the experience to do those. But in a commercial building, they are critical, because all of these restroom accessories need to be dimensioned as to where they're going to go, what elevation they're going to go, and then you may need notes for blocking in the walls to attach them to. If you think about a motel room, and all of the furniture in a motel room is fastened to the wall, or a good number of them are. The artwork is fastened to the wall. You got the shelving, the closet rod, those kinds of things. All that stuff is fastened to the wall. Well, inside the wall, there is blocking that has to be installed so that you can screw these things to it. Well, that blocking has to be dimensioned in an interior elevation view. Okay, so that's kind of the reasoning behind we're going to do these things. So we're going to start out with callouts, and you'll see, if I were to put an elevation marker in here, this is a 1/4 inch plan, it would fill up this space. You wouldn't have room for a room tag. There's no room for dimensions, those kinds of things. So we'll do a call out for this, and we'll do it at a larger scale on another drawing sheet. So we talked about call outs a little bit before. So if we look at it, if we do the pull down, we've got a rectangular or a sketch mode. And you can look at both. I'll show you both here. So we're going to go rectangle. And then based on what view you're in, the parent view, depends on what you want here. So the options right now are floor plan or detail. If we do floor plan, then you get view range for top and bottom and a cut plane, just like a regular floor plan. If you do detail, you get a two-dimensional slice through the project at the cut plane. I believe it's at the cut plane. It might be at the level, but you only get a 2D drawing. You don't get depth or height as it is. So in this case, since we're working from a floor plan, we're going to choose a floor plan view. And we're going to sketch out a rectangle there. And once you've got it, you can rotate it. If, like say, for example, our little room down here is at a 45-degree angle. If we wanted a detail call out of that, we would rotate the view. Okay. You can, adjust the size of it, crop it. You can move your, you can move your detail head. And really, with a lot of these things, it looks more professional. It looks better if you go old school with it and put a leader with a shoulder. It takes a little bit of adjusting to do, but it looks better. Okay, so I would recommend you do that. Wherever you go to work, they will have a standards they want you to do. Okay, so we've created this. We could do a sketch call out. Let's say we want to do a call out of just this stairway. So all the sketch tools are available. Rectangles, polygons, things like that. Okay. And so there we have that. Okay, so that's how you do the sketch mode on the thing. So let's go to this view and take a look at it. All right, so here we go. It right now is at a 1/2 inch scale, which would be kind of normal. It's twice as big as what we have on the other. And if we look at it over here in our browser, we've got level 1 call out. And so let's rename that to typical restroom. Okay. Like I said, it's at a 1/2 inch elevation scale. We can play with our, our detail level here, medium, fine, whatever. And we've got, all of these things in here that we need dimensioning. Well, before we go any further with that, let me go back here to level 2. And because it's the same on every level, what we would do here is we would go and do the call out, but we're going to go reference other view. And it's going to say similar. Oh, how do I get detail view? Huh. Did that change? Let me go back and redo that again. I wasn't paying any attention. Floor plan. Typical restroom. There's where I made my mistake. Okay. Okay. And so now this one, it references the typical restroom. So whatever I do on that one is going to show up here. It just references to that one. Okay, so if I come here to my typical restroom view, my detail view, and I want to do an elevation here, but I want an interior elevation. Okay, if you don't have interior elevation in your template, you can create it, or if you need a different type, we just go edit type and we would duplicate, and you've got different tags and call out tags and things like that that you can work with. But we've got it in here, so we're going to go ahead and place it in here. And I'm going to turn on all three, and I want to rename them. I don't want to go to it, I want to rename it. Okay, so that one is 1B. Let me come over here. I'm going to call it, well, a little bit more descriptive here. No, I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep it at double RS, just to stay with my thing. A. And that's east. And the reason I like to rename them is because when they show here, when it shows the name of it, it takes up less space. Okay. And, you know, once again, depending upon where you work, you may or may not show that on here, but it definitely needs, you know, a name. All right. So now then let's go to, we'll open one up. And so here it is. We got it at a 1/2 inch scale. And here you can put in your dimensions. You can adjust your crop region, you know, as needed. If you look back here, you can see the view range for it. Okay, and so you may want to adjust that a little bit. That out. That'll work. Okay. So now let's look at these, because we want to show the things that are on this wall so that we can dimension those things. Is this making sense to you here? And if you need to adjust your dimension, okay, and if you need to adjust your crop region so that you can see the wall, that's fine. Adjust your crop region out a little bit so that the wall surface shows up. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. And you can see, I don't need to go through all of these, but you can see the difference in this. I do want to look at the south one. Come on. Because remember, we pulled the viewing plane in on the south one so that it's only showing things on this wall. We don't need to cut through, you know, the soap dispenser and things like that. I wouldn't want to pull this one in because I don't want to, you know, cut through the toilet. But I could do the split segment, you know, and not show the toilet dispenser, you know, if that's what we wanted to do. Okay. So when we look back at here, now we could put some dimensions in here but it's better to put them in those details so that you're only looking at what the one thing is that you're wanting to do. Okay, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, if we look at one of these interior elevations here, let's look through our properties over here. I'm not seeing much of anything that, you know, it kind of looks okay. Let's go back to level 1. Okay, and so here these elevations are showing up here in this view, and they kind of crowd out the room. So we can hide it in this view. We can hide it like that, or, you know, we can do it through visibility and graphics. But it's visible here where we want to show it. Okay, now let's look at our drawings here. The call out is visible, yes, and I've added another sheet here, A400. So let's put our typical restroom in here. And then let's pull in our views. And then when you're placing like interior elevations or even exterior elevations, you want to get them to be orthographic so that it's like you're looking around the room and things are lined up. So that's why I put my north first, then the east, and then the south. So it's like if I were standing in the room looking clockwise around the room, that's what I would see. Okay, so that really, that pretty well covers these things. And if I, let's see, I don't have a second floor drawing set up, but in here you can see on my second floor, it's referencing this view as being similar. And of course you could overwrite that and make that typical if you wanted to. And here it's referencing to that view on sheet 400. Okay. That really covers how to do these things. In this week's project, you're going to be doing some detail views and some call outs and some interior elevations. Really, the biggest thing to remember is when you are creating it, that you choose whatever view it is that you're working from originally. So if you're doing a call out for a floor plan, you want to choose floor plan so that you've got view range that you can work with. If, okay, so let me just change it to detail real quick, and I will show you here on the stairs. And if I come to this view, yeah, I can see everything in here, but I have no view range. Okay, I can't adjust my cut plane, I can't adjust my view range. And if you do this, especially with a floor plan view, you're going to have things that do not show up. For example, your wall cabinets in a kitchen. If they're not showing up, it's because you did a detail view instead of a floor plan view. And we get, that's this one here, detail 0. We will use those when we're doing like details of let's say footings, especially in the 1133 class. We're going to be doing lots of details. So we will be using those when we're doing like a detail of footing or detail of a beam. intersection with the wall or a beam and column that join together when we just want a two-dimensional view of that. So we will be doing some of those, just not in this. I don't think we do any of those in 1129. I could be wrong on that. But for this week's work in this class, 1127, you're going to be doing floor plan callouts. All right, so there it is. If you've got questions, come see us in the lab, or send us an email, get in touch with me in some way so I can help you out with it.